Do you know what's stealing your peace right now? It's not your circumstances, it's your worry. Worry is a thief that whispers lies, makes you doubt the path you're walking, and blinds you from seeing how close you are to your breakthrough. Every sleepless night you've spent overthinking, every tear you've shed in silence, every fear you've hidden behind a smile, none of it has gone unnoticed. When life begins to feel heavy and uncertain, fear starts whispering louder than faith. It tells you that you're losing control, that things will never get better, that your prayers are going unheard. But in reality, what feels like chaos is often just the unfolding of a divine plan that you cannot yet see. Faith over fear means choosing to believe that every hardship you face has purpose written into it. It means reminding yourself that even in your darkest moments, there is light working behind the scenes. You may not understand the reason for your pain, but faith tells you that the pain itself is not wasted. Every tear, every setback, every sleepless night is part of your transformation. There are moments when life seems unfair, when doors close without explanation, when people walk away, when the weight of uncertainty makes it hard to breathe. In those moments, fear takes over easily. It tells you that you're forgotten, that you've been left to fight alone. But faith gently reminds you that even when you can't see the road ahead, the path is still there. You are being led step by step, even when your vision is clouded by confusion. Faith doesn't erase the storm. It teaches you how to stand in the middle of it without losing your balance. It whispers, you are being guided. You are not abandoned. Choosing faith over fear is not always easy. It's an inner battle that tests your strength every single day. Fear wants immediate answers. Faith is willing to wait. Fear wants to control. Faith is willing to surrender. Fear shouts that you're not strong enough. Faith reminds you that strength isn't measured by how loud you fight, but by how calmly you trust. Every challenge becomes a choice to panic or to believe. And when you choose belief, you begin to notice how everything starts aligning slowly, silently, but perfectly. Think of the times you've worried about something that eventually worked out. You spent days or months in anxiety, imagining the worst, only to realize that things resolved in their own time. That's the essence of faith. It carries you through what fear cannot handle. It teaches you that while fear reacts, faith rests. Fear limits you to what you can see. Faith opens you to what's beyond sight. And in that space of trust, peace begins to grow. The truth is, fear will always knock at your door. It's part of being human. But you don't have to let it live inside your heart. When you feed your fears, they multiply. When you feed your faith, peace multiplies. The mind may tell you that it's impossible, but faith teaches you that the impossible is where miracles begin. The key is to stop giving fear a voice louder than your belief. Every time fear whispers, "You won't make it," let faith answer, "Watch me rise." There will come a time when you look back on your current struggle and smile, because you'll see how everything that once terrified you actually built your strength. Every delay protected you. Every heartbreak redirected you. Every unanswered prayer prepared you. Faith doesn't just help you survive the storm. It transforms you into someone who can walk through storms and still see beauty in the rain. So when you feel yourself drowning in worry, pause, close your eyes, take a breath. Remind yourself that you're not fighting this battle alone. There is a purpose behind every moment of uncertainty. Fear may make the journey harder, but faith makes it meaningful. And the more you trust that there's a greater wisdom guiding your steps, the lighter your heart becomes. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to trust that the one who holds your tomorrow already knows what's best for you today. Faith over fear isn't about ignoring your pain. It's about believing that pain will lead to peace. It's the choice to keep walking when everything inside you wants to give up. And with every step you take in faith, fear loses a little more power. Because faith doesn't promise a life without struggle. It promises that every struggle has a reason, and that reason will always lead you closer to your destiny. There are moments in life when the silence feels unbearable, when you cry out for help and no one seems to hear you, when you look around and it feels like the world is moving on while you're stuck in the same pain, the same worries, the same unanswered questions. In those moments, loneliness can feel like a weight pressing against your chest. heavy, suffocating, endless. But here's the truth that silence often hides. You are never truly alone. Even when it feels like no one understands what you're going through, there is a presence that knows every thought, every fear, every hidden tear. It's in the quiet moments, when you sit with your pain and breathe through your uncertainty, that you begin to feel something greater surrounding you. You begin to realize that your struggles are not invisible, that your cries are not lost in the air. Every sigh of exhaustion, every tear that rolls down your face, every whisper of despair, they are all seen. You may not hear an answer immediately, but that doesn't mean there isn't one being written for you. The world may seem indifferent, but the one who created you never turns away. The very breath you take in the middle of your heartbreak is proof that you are still being cared for. There's a sacred kind of comfort that comes when you realize that your loneliness isn't abandonment, it's a moment of transformation. Sometimes being alone is what allows your soul to grow stronger, quieter, more connected. It's where you learn that peace doesn't always come from other people. It comes from trust. The people who were meant to walk away did so because their part in your story ended. The silence you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. You are being taught how to stand without depending on the applause or approval of anyone else. When everything around you falls apart and you can't seem to find a single soul to lean on, remember that the very strength you're seeking is already within you, given to you by a source far greater than yourself. You were designed to endure, to rise, to keep going, not by your own power, but through a strength that never leaves your side. You are being carried even when you feel like you're crawling. Every step you take, even when it's shaky, is still a step toward peace. There will be days when your mind tells you that no one cares, that you're fighting battles unseen and unappreciated. But faith whispers otherwise. It reminds you that your efforts are never in vain, that even the smallest act of patience is being noticed. You don't have to shout to be heard. Sometimes the quietest prayers are the ones answered the loudest. The divine doesn't need your perfection, only your sincerity. And in that sincerity, you are never unseen. Even when people leave, even when life feels unfair, there is a power that never leaves you. It stays through your laughter and your tears, your victories and your breakdowns. When you feel too tired to pray, even your silence becomes a prayer. When you feel too weak to move forward, even your stillness becomes a form of strength. You are being held in ways you don't always recognize. So when you find yourself sitting in your room late at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if anyone even knows what you're going through, remember this: the one who created your heart understands it better than you ever could. The same force that makes the stars shine and the oceans move knows your pain by name. And though you can't see it yet, everything you're enduring is shaping you into someone wiser, calmer, stronger. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Every storm you've survived was guided by unseen hands. Every scar you carry tells a story of endurance, not defeat. The world may overlook your quiet resilience, but heaven never does. So stop believing that silence means absence. Sometimes silence is where the deepest form of help arrives, not through words, but through peace that slowly begins to fill the cracks of your heart. Even in the loneliest chapters of your life, there is love surrounding you. Gentle, steady, and endless. You are never meant to walk alone, because the one who watches over you walks every step beside you. And when you look back one day, you'll realize that during the times you thought you were alone, you were actually being carried. There are times in life when pain feels unbearable, when you question why things had to happen the way they did, when loss seems too deep to heal, and when every path forward feels heavy with confusion. In those moments, it's easy to believe that your hardship is a punishment, that you've somehow fallen out of favor, or that your suffering has no meaning. But what if pain isn't there to destroy you? What if it's there to transform you? What if every tear, every disappointment, every heartbreak has been placed in your life not to break your spirit, but to strengthen it? The truth is, hardship has a strange way of revealing who we really are. When everything is comfortable, we don't question much. We move through life with ease, forgetting the depth of our strength, forgetting the resilience that sleeps within us. But when pain enters, when the comfort fades, something inside us awakens. Pain forces us to look inward. It strips away illusions, pride, and superficial attachments, leaving us face to face with what truly matters. You start to understand that the very moments that hurt the most are often the ones that shape your character the deepest. Every hardship carries a hidden lesson, a quiet message written within the discomfort. Sometimes it teaches you patience, showing you that not everything happens according to your timing. Sometimes it teaches you empathy, allowing you to understand others' pain in ways you never could before. And sometimes it teaches you surrender, reminding you that you were never meant to control everything. These lessons don't come easily, but they leave a permanent mark on your soul, making you wiser, softer, more compassionate. There are people who find their greatest purpose after their greatest pain. The moments that once brought them to their knees became the same moments that built their faith. You see, purpose often hides behind the mask of struggle. It's rarely revealed in comfort. It's found in the nights you cried yourself to sleep and still chose to wake up. It's found in the days you wanted to quit but decided to keep going. That persistence, that unseen strength, is the real treasure hidden inside hardship. The hardest part of pain is that it doesn't always make sense when you're in it. It clouds your heart with doubt, making you believe that there's no way out. But over time, you begin to see the pattern, how every setback had meaning, how every disappointment was redirection, how every loss cleared space for something better. You realize that without the pain, you would have never discovered your potential, never developed the patience or the faith you now carry. Pain is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you're alive, that you care deeply, that you're evolving. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in resistance. Just like gold is purified through fire, the human heart is refined through struggle. Every hardship you face is shaping you into someone more resilient, more grounded, more capable of handling what's ahead. You are being molded for blessings you haven't yet seen, for opportunities that require the strength you're building right now. And even though pain feels endless when you're in it, it never lasts forever. The storm always passes. The wound that once bled uncontrollably begins to heal, leaving behind not just a scar, but a story of endurance, faith, and transformation. One day, the same pain that made you cry will be the reason someone else finds hope through your words. That's the beauty of purpose born from hardship. It never stops with you. It becomes light for others walking through their own darkness. So don't curse your pain. Don't rush your healing. Let it do its work. Let it teach you what it came to teach. You don't have to understand it right now. You just have to trust that one day it will all make sense. Every hardship is a piece of the puzzle. Every tear a drop of strength. Every delay a preparation for something greater. The purpose in your pain is real, even if you can't see it yet. You may be walking through fire, but you're not burning. You're being refined. And when the time comes, you'll emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more peaceful than ever before. The pain that once felt like it would destroy you will become the very force that helped you rise. Because hardship never has the final word, growth does. There's a moment in everyone's life when the chaos feels too loud, when your thoughts race faster than your heartbeat, and your mind becomes a battlefield of what-ifs. You lie awake at night, trapped between fear of the future and regret from the past, replaying scenarios that never happened and worrying about things you can't control. But here's the truth, worrying never changes your destiny. It only steals your peace. The outcomes that were written for you will unfold no matter how much you fear them or fight them. The only thing you truly have power over is how you choose to face them. With panic or with peace, with fear or with faith. Calm in chaos isn't found by escaping the storm. It's found by learning to breathe in the middle of it. Life was never promised to be easy. Every person, no matter how strong, faces moments that shake them to their core. But there's something powerful about trusting that even the chaos has order behind it, that even when everything seems to be falling apart, it's actually falling into place in ways you cannot yet understand. When you start to trust that there is divine timing behind every event, your heart slowly begins to unclench. You stop chasing control and start embracing surrender. The truth is, we often confuse control with safety. We think that if we plan enough, worry enough, or analyze enough, we can prevent pain or avoid disappointment. But life doesn't work that way. Worrying is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it takes you nowhere. It drains your energy, it dulls your spirit, and it blinds you from seeing the beauty that still exists around you. The same energy you use to imagine everything going wrong can be used to imagine everything going right. The same thoughts that create panic can be turned into prayers for peace. You have to remind yourself the one who controls the universe. The rise of the sun, the fall of the rain, the beating of your heart is the same one controlling your story. Nothing happens by accident. Every delay, every closed door, every sudden change has purpose behind it. Sometimes chaos is just the divine rearranging your life to make room for something better. You think you're losing something, but in reality, you're being protected from what could have hurt you. You think you're being delayed, but really, you're being redirected towards something greater than what you planned. The calm you seek doesn't come from solving every problem. It comes from realizing you were never meant to solve them all. You were meant to live, to trust, to do your part, and leave the rest to the one who sees what you can't. The storms will still come. But faith doesn't promise a storm-free life. It promises peace in the middle of the waves. You'll begin to notice that when you stop trying to control everything, things start falling into place naturally. The more you trust, the less you fear. The more you let go, the lighter you feel. Every time anxiety whispers that you're not safe, remind yourself that you've survived every storm before this one. You faced things that once seemed impossible, and yet you're still here, breathing, standing, growing. That's proof that you are being carried. You don't have to know what tomorrow holds because you know who holds tomorrow. That's where calm is born, in surrender, not in control. So take a deep breath, release the urge to predict every outcome. Replace your what ifs with of an if. Even if things don't go as planned, I'll still find peace. Even if I don't understand right now, I'll still trust that there's a purpose behind this. That's what true strength looks like. Not pretending everything is fine, but finding stillness even when it's not. Chaos will always exist. The world won't suddenly slow down for you to find peace. But peace isn't something you have to chase. It's something you carry within you when you stop resisting what is and start trusting what's meant to be. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose to anchor your heart in faith. The same power that paints order into the universe is painting order into your life perfectly, patiently, purposefully. So don't let your mind be louder than your heart. Don't let fear dictate the story that faith is trying to write. Trust that everything happening right now, even the confusion, even the waiting, even the struggle, is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Calm doesn't mean the chaos ends. It means you no longer let the chaos control you. When you find that kind of peace, no storm can ever take it away. There is something extraordinary about the moment when a heart filled with worry chooses gratitude instead. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending that everything is perfect. It means seeing light even while standing in the shadows. When you start thanking instead of questioning, something inside you begins to change. The weight on your chest feels a little lighter. The noise in your mind grows a little quieter. Gratitude becomes a bridge from despair to peace, from fear to faith. It reminds you that even in the storm, there are blessings still present. Air in your lungs, lessons in your struggles, love in your heart, and hope that refuses to die. It's easy to be grateful when life feels good. When doors are open, prayers are answered, and everything flows smoothly, gratitude comes naturally. But real strength is built in the moments when nothing seems to go right, when the world feels heavy and your faith is tested. In those moments, gratitude becomes a choice. A conscious decision to see purpose in pain and to trust that something meaningful is being written even when the page feels blank. When you can thank through tears, when you can whisper, Alhamdulillah, break, that's when gratitude becomes transformative. Gratitude changes how you see everything. It doesn't erase the storm, but it gives you an umbrella of peace to walk through it. It teaches you to look beyond what's missing and recognize what remains. You may not have everything you want, but you have what you need to survive this moment. You have strength you didn't know you had, courage that wakes up every morning with you, and faith that keeps you standing when everything else tells you to fall. Gratitude reminds you that every breath is a gift, every setback is a lesson, and every delay is preparation. When you focus on what's wrong, your heart becomes heavy. But when you start counting what's right, your heart begins to heal. The mind naturally magnifies problems, but gratitude magnifies peace. It tells your heart, there is still good here. There is still hope. You might be waiting for your situation to change, but often it's your perspective that needs to shift first. The moment you start thanking for what you have, instead of worrying about what you don't, the energy around you begins to shift. Blessings multiply where gratitude lives. Sometimes gratitude is not about being happy with everything. It's about trusting that even the painful things have purpose. You begin to see that the closed doors protected you from what wasn't meant for you. The losses taught you compassion. The silence taught you patience. The waiting taught you faith. Gratitude turns pain into wisdom. It transforms what could have broken you into what built you. It makes you realize that the storm that tried to drown you was actually teaching you how to swim. Even in the darkest moments, there is always something to be thankful for. Maybe it's the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still trying. Maybe it's the tiny spark of hope that refuses to die no matter how many times life tries to blow it out. Maybe it's the lesson that pain taught you, how to appreciate joy more deeply, how to love more selflessly, how to trust more completely. Gratitude takes you out of fear's grip and places you back into peace's embrace. If you want to heal, start with thankfulness. The heart that remembers blessings cannot stay anxious for long. When you wake up each morning, instead of worrying about the future, whisper thanks for the present, for another chance, another breath, another day to try again. When you go to bed at night, instead of replaying what went wrong, whisper thanks for what went right, even if it's just the smallest thing. Over time, gratitude becomes not just something you practice, but something you live. Life will always have storms. But when you face them with a grateful heart, you no longer fear the rain. You start to see the beauty in it. You begin to realize that every hardship you endured has led you a deeper understanding of life, of patience, of love, of faith. Gratitude doesn't make problems disappear, but it makes you stronger than your problems. And when you reach that level of peace, worry loses its power. Because a heart that's truly grateful cannot be shaken. It knows that even the hardest days carry hidden blessings waiting to be discovered. Every hardship you face feels endless while you're in it. The pain feels permanent, the tears seem unending, and the weight on your heart feels too heavy to carry. But the truth that life quietly teaches over and over again is that nothing lasts forever. Every struggle, no matter how deep, has an expiration date. Every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually runs out of rain. The promise of ease after hardship isn't just a comforting phrase. It's a law written into the rhythm of existence itself. Just as the night must surrender to dawn, pain must eventually give way to peace. The same force that brings the sun after every dark night will bring light back into your life too. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's hard to see beyond the clouds. Your heart aches for relief, your mind begs for answers, and you start to wonder if ease will ever find you again. But even when it's invisible, ease is already on its way. It doesn't always arrive as you expect. Sometimes it comes quietly, like the soft return of hope after despair, or the calm realization that you've survived something you thought would break you. Ease often enters gently, not with fanfare, but with peace. You begin to breathe differently, think differently, and understand that the pain was never permanent. It was purposeful. The promise of ease teaches us that life is a balance of joy and sorrow, loss and renewal, silence and song. Every hardship has meaning hidden within it. It's not there to crush you, but to prepare you. Sometimes the hardship itself is the bridge that leads you to your blessings. What feels like a delay or denial is often the exact path that builds the strength and wisdom you'll need when ease finally arrives. The time between your struggle and your relief is not wasted time. It's sacred time. It's where your faith grows deeper, where your soul learns to trust, and where your character is formed. It's easy to believe in the promise of ease when life is gentle. But the real test is when you can't see it yet, when your days feel like a blur of disappointment and your nights are filled with restless thoughts. That's when you must hold on to faith tighter than ever. Because faith is what connects you to that unseen promise. It tells you that even though your eyes can't see the end, your heart knows it's coming. Every step through hardship is a step closer to peace. Every tear you shed waters the soil of your future ease. Ease doesn't always mean that the problem disappears. Sometimes it means that your heart grows strong enough to carry it differently. The same situation that once shattered you begins to lose its power over you. You start to find calm where you once found chaos. You begin to smile again, not because life is perfect, but because you've learned that perfection was never the goal, peace was. Ease is not just the end of pain, it's the transformation of your spirit. It's when your heart, once bruised by hardship, begins to glow with gratitude. When you look back on your journey, you'll start to see how every hardship carried a hidden mercy. The people who left taught you independence. The delays taught you patience. The losses made you appreciate blessings more deeply. And every moment you thought was meant to destroy you was, in reality, sculpting you into the person you were always meant to become. The ease that follows hardship isn't just relief. It's realization. It's understanding that your pain had purpose all along. So whenever you feel overwhelmed by what you're facing, remind yourself this is not the end of your story. Ease is already written into your destiny. It's just waiting for the right time to arrive. You don't have to chase it, you only need to endure with faith. The same way morning always follows night, ease will follow your hardship. It's a promise that never fails. One day, you'll wake up and notice that your heart doesn't ache the same way it used to. You'll catch yourself laughing again, dreaming again, believing again. You'll realize that the storm didn't break you, it built you. The pain that once felt endless will become a memory that taught you resilience. And in that moment of peace, you'll understand that every hardship was just a chapter, not the whole book. After hardship always comes ease. Not because life owes it to you, but because mercy is woven into the fabric of your existence. It's a reminder that no matter how hard things get, hope will always find its way back to you. All you need to do is keep walking, keep trusting, and keep believing. Because ease is not a possibility, it's a divine certainty.